Yeah, probably heard this before. Protect your energy. Stay away from people who drain you. This kind of advice is very common right now. And it sounds simple and even empowering when you first come across it. And there is real truth in that advice. Some people do leave you feeling exhausted after every interaction. Your energy does matter. And paying attention to how you feel around others is genuinely important for your well-being. But here is the real challenge. What if the draining is happening so slowly and quietly that you do not even notice it? What if someone is affecting your energy without any obvious harm? And what if you've been feeling tired for a long time without knowing why? Psychology actually shows that our energy is deeply connected to our relationships. Certain patterns in how people interact with us can quietly wear us down over time. So here's what psychology suggests you watch out for. 1. You feel tired after spending time with them. Not just occasionally, but almost every single time. You might enjoy the moment, but afterwards you feel strangely empty or drained without a clear reason. A lot of people assume this tiredness is just about introversion or needing rest. They blame themselves. They think something must be wrong with them for feeling this way after a simple conversation or meeting. Psychologists explain that this emotional exhaustion after interactions is often a signal worth paying attention to. For example, you might notice that after a phone call with a certain person, you feel the need to lie down even though nothing dramatic happened. 2. Every conversation somehow ends up being about them. You share something personal or exciting, and within minutes the topic quietly shifts back to their life, their problems, or their feelings. It happens so consistently you barely notice anymore. Most people assume this is just how that person is. They tell themselves the person is just going through a lot right now. They keep giving the same understanding without ever receiving any back in return. Psychologists explain that one-sided conversations create a quiet emotional imbalance. For example, you might share good news, and instead of celebrating with you, the other person immediately shares their own story. Over time, this leaves you feeling invisible. 3. You often feel responsible for their emotions. If they are upset, you feel the need to fix it. If they are unhappy, your mood shifts too. Their emotional state somehow becomes your problem to manage without you ever agreeing to that role. A lot of people believe this means they are simply caring and empathetic, and compassion is beautiful. But there's a difference between genuinely caring for someone and carrying the full weight of their emotional world every single day. Psychologists explain that when someone consistently places their emotional responsibility onto others, it creates what is called emotional labor. For example, you might cancel your own plans just to keep that person from feeling upset or abandoned. 4. You find yourself constantly editing what you say. You think carefully before speaking. You avoid certain topics. You soften your words more than you normally would. And you are always bracing for a reaction that feels unpredictable. Most people do not recognize this as a warning sign. They think they are just being considerate or kind. But this level of self-editing in a safe relationship should not feel this exhausting or constant. Something is quietly off. Psychologists explain that walking on eggshells around someone is a form of chronic low-level stress. For example, you might rehearse a simple message 3 or 4 times before sending it just to avoid upsetting a particular person. 5. They bring negativity into most conversations. Every topic somehow turns into a complaint, a criticism, or a problem. The weather is terrible. Work is hopeless. Life is unfair. And this happens so regularly it starts to color how you see things too. A lot of people feel guilty for noticing this pattern. They do not want to be unsympathetic. They remind themselves that the person is struggling, and so they keep absorbing the negativity, while quietly losing their own sense of lightness. Psychologists explain that being consistently exposed to negative thinking can actually affect your own thought patterns over time. This is sometimes called emotional contagion. For example, you might find yourself becoming more pessimistic around them without meaning to. 6. Interactions with them often feel unbalanced. You give support, time, and attention generously. But when you need something in return, the energy shifts. Suddenly they are unavailable, distracted, or strangely silent. Most people excuse this imbalance for a long time. They tell themselves the other person is busy or going through something, and sometimes that is true. But consistent pattern of one-sided giving is worth noticing honestly. Psychologists explain that healthy relationships involve some level of mutual support. For example, you might realize that you always check in on them during their hard times, but when you are struggling, they rarely reach out on their own. Protecting your energy does not always mean cutting people out of your life completely. And noticing these signs does not mean those people are harmful or that you should feel angry with them. It simply means becoming more honest about how certain relationships are affecting you and deciding what kind of boundaries or changes might help you feel more balanced and whole. Healthy energy is not about surrounding yourself only with perfect people. It is about being aware enough to notice what is slowly costing you and caring enough about yourself to respond gently and honestly